For others, they took the journey and they said, oh, you know what? It turns out I like this over here and I'm really good at it. And people are paying me for that expertise, that strength. So I'm going to go pivot to that. Comfort is another one, especially early on. Don't get too comfortable. Stay uncomfortable. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable, all of that. But when you get too comfortable, you're falling behind. I'm telling you, you're falling behind.
Hi, thanks for coming back for another weekly Q&A series. My name's Katie Matthews, and I'll be going through how to know if you're on the right career path.
Sounds great, Katie. Thank you very much for having me. Let's do it.
All right. So starting off, is it better to specialize in one area or stay more general early on?
I would say early on, it's general. Learn what you're good at. So you volunteer for anything and everything. Stick your nose in everything. Take ownership of it. And then over time, you'll develop what you're good at, what you really like to do, and what people will pay you to do. So then go to your strength. Then really focus on what your strengths are. But I would say early on, try a little bit of everything. Learn a little something of everything. Go take a project or a task in stuff that you're uncomfortable with. Go have at it. You might surprise yourself and surprise others with how good or how adept you might be at it. But I would start sort of more broad and then go to your focus, go to your strength.
So what if you're already passionate about a certain strength or you want to proceed with that rather than being more broad? Is that hurtful if you already know what you want to do?
Not necessarily. The question is, do you have a job in doing it? I mean, that really is what it comes down to. Is there an opportunity for you to exercise whatever that passion, that thing is? If there's not, then think about it. If there's not at your current role, then you're going to spend your time and energy hopping from job to job looking for whatever that is, maybe to your detriment. Like maybe it takes you farther. We talked before about distractions and a plan. Just pursuing that for the sake of I really like doing this really doesn't cut it. And then frankly, a lot of times when people find it, they realize I didn't really like it anymore anyway. So, and you're a few steps behind as a result. So the thing that I would say is go more to a general kind of approach, but then find the thing you're really good at, you really like to do, and people will pay to do. But you have to take the journey to go do that.
How do you know when you're on that right career path or when you need to pivot or when is best in your career for you to pivot?
You know what? It's a little different for everybody. For some, they've just gone as far as they can go with this. For others, they took the journey and they said, oh, you know what? It turns out I like this over here to the left and I'm really good at it. And people are paying me for that expertise, that strength. So I'm going to go pivot to that. Comfort is another one, especially early on. Don't get too comfortable. Stay uncomfortable. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable, all of that. But when you get too comfortable, you're falling behind. I'm telling you, you're falling behind. So always keep yourself sharp and uncomfortable and pursue those opportunities. And then if that requires a hard pivot, great, because like you're into it, so be it. Otherwise, just being comfortable in what you're doing is actually damaging and detrimental. You're doing yourself a disservice, if nothing else.
So say, for example, you're with a company and you love how the company operates, but you're not making as much money as you potentially could be making. Would you recommend to stay with the company that you like and you're loyal to, or would you recommend trying to go make more money somewhere else that you might not like the company as much?
Well, loyalty doesn't mean a whole lot to me. It's about skills. If you really like the company, you like the people, and like everything sort of with it, and it's a money thing, well, that's fixable. You can find another role in the organization. You can go have an informed conversation with your leadership. You can show your goals and what you have achieved and the business impact that you've had for the company. And that's a negotiation then for compensation, as you're putting it. It's all the other things. It's all the other things. If you're not being exercised or stimulated from a skills standpoint and a growth standpoint, that's the time to kind of look elsewhere. But that's what the plan B is for. So, hey, I really like the company, but I'm not going to go anymore, any further. Let me just go look then for plan B while I'm still here at the company I really do like, but it's just not my long-term play. I think that's a tremendous approach to take for you, especially in an organization that you like.
So what's one decision that can have the biggest long-term impact on your career, whether that be positive or negative?
I don't really think there is one. I really don't. Outside of making sure that you're being ethical in conducting your business and legal in conducting your business, make that assumption, you can recover from anything. You can recover from anything. And you just need to have the wherewithal to go do that. It's easier to do early in your career than it is later in your career. But everybody has the resilience and the wherewithal to go take a step back, reevaluate, and then take a step forward. So yeah, definitely you can make mistakes, but you can recover from those mistakes or decisions that you make.
Now, how would you advise young professionals to balance short-term goals versus long-term?
Make the plan. Yeah. So if you establish the plan, typically the short-term goal is a subset of the long-term goal. You've got to make a plan. It doesn't need to be the most sophisticated thing in the world, but it has to be some kind of vision for you of what you're going to do in the next 90, 180, 365 days. What am I going to do in the next 12 to 24 to 60 months? You've got to be able to make some kind of plan that shows that, because if you reach those short-term goals, they're contributing towards your longer-term goals. And if you reach those short-term goals, you might realize that the long-term goal needs to change, and you can pivot it in the short term, kind of like we just talked about. I would say it just starts with a plan. All too often, I see it early career. There's a lack of discipline in the approach. It doesn't need to be that way. You can take a planned vision type approach and then put the tasks underneath it to go execute it. And then obviously the short, the medium, and the long-term goals. There's nothing more satisfactory than knocking off, a couple of those goals along the way and say, wow, I'm one step closer to where I want to be, or it's time for me to pivot, in that goal. So that's the way I would answer that.
All right, thank you. That's all the questions I have for today. Thanks for the advice, and I'll see you again next week.
Sounds good, Katie. Thank you. And thank you, everybody. Take care.